It was supposed to be the perfect love story. Krista Chen, a 36-year-old pharmacist from Memphis, Tennessee, had finally found her happily ever after. After a whirlwind romance, she married Bradley Robert Dawson, a 40-year-old IT professional, in February 2022. Their love story seemed like something out of a fairy tale, two successful professionals embarking on a new chapter of life together. The couple had recently purchased a home together in Memphis, a symbol of their shared future. To celebrate their union, they planned a honeymoon in paradise, Turtle Island, Fiji, an exclusive resort known for its breathtaking beauty and seclusion. But what started as a dream honeymoon would soon turn into a nightmare, leaving one of them dead and the other facing a murder conviction in a foreign land. The story begins with the couple arriving at Turtle Island, a private resort that hosts only 14 couples at a time. It's the kind of place where romance thrives, pristine beaches, luxurious villas, and complete privacy. But behind the idyllic setting, cracks in their relationship began to show. Witnesses later reported hearing loud arguments between the newlyweds during their stay. One of these arguments was reportedly sparked after Christy caught Bradley inappropriately dancing with another woman at the resort. What could have gone so wrong so quickly? Christy had been excited about the trip, even telling friends she was looking forward to spending quality time with her new husband. But the tension between them was palpable, and it was clear that something was amiss. On the night of July 8, 2022, those cracks turned into a chasm. The couple's argument escalated, and by the next morning, Christy Chen was dead. Her body was discovered in their villa, and the scene was nothing short of horrifying. An autopsy would later reveal that Christy had suffered severe blunt force trauma to her head and face, along with multiple fractured ribs. The injuries were consistent with a violent assault. The dream honeymoon had turned into a crime scene. But where was Bradley Dawson? When resort staff discovered Christy's body squashed and slumped in the tiny space between the toilet, Dawson was nowhere to be found. He had fled the island, leaving behind his belongings and his wife's lifeless body. Authorities launched a manhunt, and 2 days later, Dawson was found on the neighboring island of Matakawalevu. He had been wandering aimlessly, reportedly trying to evade capture. When questioned, Dawson claimed he had left the villa after an argument to cool off and had no idea what had happened to his wife. But his story didn't add up. Here's where the story takes a chilling turn. After his arrest, Dawson's behavior shocked everyone. In footage captured by local media, he can be seen smirking and taunting Christy's grieving family, saying, "You got what you paid for."
Okay. Sit.
You monster, Fred!
Hope you got what you paid for.
The callous remark sent shockwaves through those following the case. How could someone show such a lack of remorse, especially after the brutal death of their spouse? It was a moment that would haunt Christy's family and solidify Dawson's image as a cold and calculating individual. As the investigation unfolded, more details about the couple's relationship came to light. Friends of Christy described her as a kind and vibrant woman who had been overjoyed about her future with Bradley. But some expressed concerns about how quickly their relationship had progressed. The couple had only been dating for a few months before getting married, and there were whispers of underlying issues that had been ignored in the rush to the altar. Was this a case of love gone wrong, or were there warning signs that everyone missed? For Christy's parents, the nightmare began with a phone call. At around midnight, just days after Christy's death, they were informed by the State Department that their only child had been killed. The news was devastating, and the details that followed only deepened their grief. Christy's body had been so badly beaten that it could not be flown back to the United States. Instead, her family made the heartbreaking decision to have her cremated in Fiji. Her remains were then brought back to Memphis, where her parents mourned the loss of their beloved daughter. The trial, held in Fiji, became an international spectacle. Prosecutors painted a damning picture of Dawson as a controlling and aggressive man whose temper had spiraled out of control. They presented evidence of the injuries Christy sustained, as well as testimony from resort staff who had overheard the couple's arguments. DNA analysis confirmed that Christy's blood was found on Dawson's clothing, further implicating him in her death. The defense, however, argued that the couple had been drinking heavily that night and that Christie's death was the result of a tragic accident. They claimed Dawson had no intention of harming his wife and that her injuries were the result of a drunken altercation gone wrong. But the evidence against Dawson was overwhelming. Witnesses described his erratic behavior in the hours following Christie's death, and his decision to flee the resort only added to the suspicion. The jury deliberated for just a few hours before reaching a verdict. In December 2024, Bradley Robert Dawson was found guilty of murdering Christy Chen and sentenced to life in prison. However, the case left many unanswered questions. What drove Dawson to commit such a heinous act? Was this a moment of rage, or had there been signs of trouble all along? And how could a honeymoon in paradise end in such unimaginable tragedy? For Christie's loved ones, the pain of her loss is compounded by the knowledge that her life was taken by the very person who had vowed to love and protect her. This story is more than just a tale of love gone wrong. It's a cautionary reminder that appearances can be deceiving. Behind the picture-perfect wedding photos and the dream honeymoon was a relationship that had cracks no one could see. Christy Chen's story is one of betrayal, violence, and the ultimate price of ignoring red flags. It's a haunting tale that will stay with you long after the credits roll.